What if I told you that the man who inspired millions with his message of peace and nonviolence was also a man of deep contradictions, struggling against his own inner demons? Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation, is often seen as an almost divine figure. But behind this image lies a complex individual whose personal struggles shaped his public persona in ways few understand. Today, we will delve into the shadows of Gandhi's psyche, exploring his ego, his contradictions, and the human behind the icon. Prepare to see Gandhi in a completely new light. Understanding Gandhi's shadow is not just about demystifying a historical figure. It is about recognizing that even the greatest among us are human, with flaws and internal struggles. By exploring his contradictions, we can learn to embrace our own complexities and perhaps find a deeper sense of empathy and self-awareness. Gandhi was not an untouchable saint. He was a man who fought daily to align his ideals with his actions, and it is in this struggle that his true greatness lies. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, introduced the concept of the shadow, the parts of ourselves that we repress or deny. For Gandhi, his shadow manifested in his rigid self-discipline, his sometimes authoritarian tendencies, and his struggles with desires that conflicted with his principles. Recognizing this shadow does not diminish his achievements. On the contrary, it humanizes him, showing that even an icon of peace was susceptible to the same weaknesses we all face. That Gandhi's life was full of paradoxes. He preached simplicity, but relied on the support of wealthy patrons to maintain his community. He advocated equality, but his views on caste and race were at times controversial and reflected the prejudices of his time. His experiments with chastity, in which he slept next to young women to test his own resistance, raised ethical questions and revealed a man in constant conflict with his own desires. These contradictions were not simple hypocrisies. They were the battlegrounds where Gandhi fought to reconcile his ideals with his humanity. Consider his relationship with his wife, Kasturba. Although they shared a life together, their marriage was often marked by tensions. Gandhi imposed his strict beliefs on her, from dietary restrictions to spiritual practices, often disregarding her own needs and desires. This dynamic reflected a man who, despite his commitment to nonviolence, could be domineering in his personal life. Another revealing incident was his reaction to his son's choices. When his son strayed from the path Gandhi had set, his response was harsh, revealing a difficulty in accepting differences even within his own family. Furthermore, his interactions with the residents of his ashram showed his expectation of strict adherence to his codes of conduct, which led to accusations of authoritarianism. Some residents felt suffocated by his rules, highlighting the fine line between leadership and control. These personal battles were not isolated. They permeated his public life. His insistence on absolute nonviolence, even in the face of extreme provocations, can be seen as a projection of his need to control his own aggressive impulses. Psychologists suggest that Gandhi's strict self-discipline was a way to manage his shadow, channeling his internal conflicts into a broader struggle for justice. This interplay between the personal and the public made his philosophy powerful and, at the same time, controversial. For example, his decision to suspend the non-cooperation movement after the Chauri Chaura incident frustrated many, including his own followers. Although it was a principled decision, it reflected his need to maintain control over both himself and the movement. Mirroring his personal struggle for self-control, Gandhi's leadership was also shaped by his internal battles. His unwavering commitment to nonviolence sometimes put him at odds with other leaders who favored more pragmatic approaches. His insistence on maintaining the purity of the movement, even if it meant sacrificing immediate political gains, can be seen as an extension of his personal struggle to master his own shadow. This aspect of his leadership, while admirable in its integrity, also generated tensions and divisions within the independence movement. Imagine Gandhi as a tightrope walker, precariously balancing between his lofty ideals and his human weaknesses. Each step forward was a testament to his willpower, but the abyss below represented the ever-present risk of falling into his own contradictions. His mind was a labyrinth, where the path to enlightenment was fraught with detours into doubt and temptation. He was both the guru and the disciple, teaching the world while learning from himself. Think of Gandhi's psyche as a broken mirror, reflecting fragments of holiness and humanity. Each shard tells a different story, one of compassion, another of rigidity, one of courage, another of fear. Together, they form a complex mosaic that defies simplification. Or imagine him as a river, flowing purposefully toward freedom, but whose hidden currents reveal the rocks and whirlpools of his internal struggles. In the end, Gandhi's legacy is not just his achievements, but his humanity. His struggles remind us that greatness is not about perfection, but about the relentless pursuit of principles, even in the face of personal turmoil. By acknowledging his shadow, we can appreciate the depth of his character and perhaps find the courage to confront our own internal conflicts. Today, as we grapple with the idealization and disillusionment of our heroes, Gandhi's story teaches us to embrace the full spectrum of humanity, both the light and the shadow. If this journey through Gandhi's psyche intrigued you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the minds of historical figures. Share this video with friends who love exploring the complexities of human nature, and leave a comment below. Which other icon would you like us to unmask? Until next time, and remember, behind every legend, there is a story of struggle and triumph.